Let's be clear moving forward. The way I will speak about spiritual matters is most likely unlike anything you have heard at church. This will make you uncomfortable, and it will challenge many of you to come to the realization that you are playing at being a Christian. I don't mean that in any way to be offensive, however, it's true. Jesus said to the disciples in John 14:12, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. And whatsoever ye shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If ye shall ask anything in my name, I will do it." Most people are not educated enough to ask God anything. Sure, they will blame him for their decisions, the bad results of their actions, attack him for what they perceive to be his flaws, which are nothing more than their flawed thinking and lazy understanding. However, what happens next is pure warfare at its finest, and it is what intercessors experience on a daily basis. Because I'm back home in the kitchen making dinner when a woman appears in my kitchen and starts looking at me up and down. Like she is studying a puzzle, she is there for 30 seconds and gone. A few days later, another woman appears. Later that same day, another woman appears and they are looking at me like I have two heads and then disappear. Well, eventually this starts to get old, so I call Pastor Hines and tell him, and he says he has experienced this before, that these are witches, powerful ones trying to see what you are in the spirit realm. He goes on to explain to me that there are levels in the realm of the spirit where people don't travel, they just appear, and the simple fact that they have shown themselves to me means that I am one that can and will make it to that level. That in the realms of the spirit there is nothing hidden from men. It's a matter of who is willing to make the sacrifices needed to get to that level. Pastor Hines asks me to go have a bite to eat with him, and we head to a local restaurant, and Max and his brother are there. We are just talking when Pastor Hines says to Max and his brother that I was visited by witches, those that teleport to locations. Now to me this was terrifying, but Pastor Hines' son, the one I called Billy the Butcher, starts to laugh, and then this man talks. And it is unlike anything I have ever heard. He says you have to learn to leave your body and go before God. That only comes from prayer, learning to pray, and more importantly, to sing. Songs are ladders in the spirit realms that take you to higher levels. They kill animals and use blood to make sacrifices. They will sleep in graveyards. They will eat human flesh. They will do the most vile things to separate them from God and bring them closer to Satan, to become closer to his level of wickedness, his level of rebellion. We make the sacrifices that Father wants to get closer to his throne. The closer you are to him, the more power you have access to. It's not your power. It's his, but he trusts you to use it. He goes on to tell me that he has 17 legions of angels at his command as a man that walks the earth, that they are his fellow servants in the kingdom, and that they all go to war together for the death of enemies of the kingdom. Listen, he didn't say it was for the defeat. It was for the death and judgment of those who come against the kingdom. Then he says you need to spend some time in prayer and fasting. As for those who are spying on you, leave them to me for the moment. Then he goes silent and never says another word for 3 entire hours. He gave me the creeps. Later I learned why he gave me the heebie-jeebies. Just like Satan had men and women who were assassins in the realm of the spirit, he was the same for God's kingdom. There was and is to this day something strange and powerful about him, yet you could tell it's under control. I got confirmation of this one night at 3 a.m. I'm outside praying, with my eyes closed, when I hear his voice calling my name. I open my eyes, and he is standing right in front of me, and he starts to teach. He says, in order to stand before him as your king, you must understand that he is Yahweh Elohim. There must be reverence, there must be honor, there must be expectation. He is holy and separated from all things. Nothing exists like him. You are about to connect to the energies of Mount Zion, and this will take time, but you will have the time. Then he disappears. When he was gone, it felt like God had me up just to talk to him. So I went to bed and went into the most terrible dream I have ever encountered. I was in a classroom, and there was a man lecturing, teaching. The man had multiple crowns on his head. and there were other students in the room of all races and colors. Well, it was like some of the students were fading in and out of the room. Thinking back on it, I think it was them waking up from the dream realms. But anyway, as he is teaching, the door opens, and these black, misty, red-eyed creatures come in and start to attack people in class, and he just keeps teaching. Well, they are only attacking certain people, and I move to help one of them, and he says, "Stop. When it was your turn, no one helped you. You learned the same way we all did, trial by fire." Then I wake up, and this is the first time I have ever experienced this. I was slammed back to sleep like I was forced to sleep, and he is still talking to me, and he says, "Class is not over." Now, the weird thing is, I barely remembered what he was saying at all. Well, over the next month, these dreams go on, and during every class, people in class are attacked. One day, I call Pastor Hines just to talk and tell him what is going on, and he says, "You need to talk to my son." So he gives the phone to Billy the butcher, and he says quickly, "It's the school of the Spirit. The lessons are not written on your mind. They are words from God, written on your heart." He says, "I will come visit you tonight and show you what is there after that." Have you ever had a man tell you something and you are like, "Sure, buddy, but you're crazy"? I'm thinking you ain't coming into my dreams. Well, sure enough, as I fall asleep, I'm back in class and the teacher is teaching, and I get touched and look to my right. It's him. Well, he says, "Come with me," and touches my shoulder, and we are gone, standing on the side of a mountain. The entire mountain is covered with war angels, and on top of that, the mountains themselves are the backs of angels. Down below are these people. They look like they are in a city. You can tell that they are panicking, scrambling about. He looks at me and says, "This is what it looks like when territory is taken in the realms of the spirit." Now, it was weird because there was light, but it was not daylight. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but when the daylight came, there was this charge like a mighty wind blowing, and those angels descended on that city and fire came from the sky. It was wild. Then I was back in that class, and I woke up. That is when the terrible dream started. I would fall asleep, and the next thing I knew, I would be standing before a creature. The first one I saw was a giant head, and gold coins came spilling out of its mouth, and it would speak and say, "Take the coins, they are yours." It was spilling so many coins that the room was filling up with coins. I would tell it that I didn't want the coins, and nothing would happen, and I would wake up feeling like I was suffocating. This goes on for a few days when one day I was in the bathroom and I said, "God, what is this dream? What is going on?" A few minutes later, God says, "I want you to see me. When you see me, you shall be like me." This was the most confusing thing I had heard. But later that day, I was just walking around and I hear this song playing in my head. It says, "Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. I want to see you." So I start to sing this song, and I'm just happy singing this new song that appeared in my head. I sing it all day, and when it's time to go to bed, I say prayers with my wife and fall into this deep sleep, and I'm back in this room full of coins, and this giant golden face is saying, "Take the coins, you can have them." Listen, I don't know why this never occurred to me, but I simply say, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ." And as I say that, I wake up. Well, I'm coming awake, and I can feel like something is in the room. Like there is a bad presence in the room, so I rebuke it again, and then I fall asleep. The next dream is one of the wolves from the woods. This thing is talking to me about what has happened since I moved here and how the land is not the same, and how it was angry at me, but it is not anymore because we ran the evil spirits away, and it was like it was buttering me up. Then it says, "Now, if you want peace for as long as you live here, just give us your son, and we will never bother you again." That pissed me off, so I tell it, "You are not going to bother me one way or the other, and I bind you in the name of Jesus Christ." And it asks me not to bind it, that it had information. Stop right here and listen to me. Evil spirits lie. Men with evil spirits lie even more. There is no bargain or talking to evil men or spirits. They have zero honor. I learned this the hard way. Trust me on this one, because listening to what this spirit had to say about the woods led me into a lot of trouble.